Okay, I am making this video to help new coaches get started on selling their first challenge pack. I was asked to put this together for a different group, so I figured why not record this as a training for our team. So here we go. Getting started on selling your first challenge pack. I even have a presentation to share with you guys, so I'm going to pull this up and move some things around. I hope you can hear me okay. Present. Here we go. So some of you might not know this, but I jumped into the business as a coach. I had never tried the products. I had never tried the programs. I was interested in the business. I had seen enough other people getting results to know it was awesome. I was ready to get some more results. After having my second baby, I was frustrated with my results at the gym, and I decided, what the heck, I'm gonna go all in. So I signed up as a coach, and in my first week, I had 2 girls sign up with me with challenge packs. And then in my first month, I had a total of 5 people buy a challenge pack from me, giving me Success Club 10 in my first month. And ever since then, I've hit Success Club 10 or higher. So I've always sold challenge packs to people. And yes, I'll sell some stuff here and there that's not a challenge pack, but selling challenge packs is basically all I've ever known. So we're going to talk about that. Tip number 1, keep it very, very simple. You guys, in the beginning when I started, I didn't overthink this. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to sell a challenge pack. I have to know all the things. No, I just literally asked my coach, so how am I going to get my money back? I want to work this business. And she was like, make a list of 25 names of people you can start conversations with and go start conversations. And so that's literally what I did. If you need to, you can sit down and use social media to jog your memory. I literally went through my Facebook friends list, but also I just scrolled my feed and looked for people that I thought might be interested, which I don't tell my coaches to do that now because oftentimes the people you think will be interested are not. But anyways, my first customer, and she was my first coach, she's still with me today, was a friend of mine, kind of more of an acquaintance of mine. She had also had her second baby, and she did a post showing that she was getting back into running to lose the baby weight after baby number 2. And I was like, boom, I'm going to reach out to you. So I looked for people like that, right? And then I honestly just went through like my Facebook friends list and was like, who could I start a conversation with? And I went through and started short, engaging conversations. Legit, like, hey, it's been forever. I saw you had your baby. Awesome. Congratulations. How's the transition from 1 to 2 kids going? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I kept it very short, showed some interest in them based on their page and their photos, and then I asked them a question. So look for easy invites, but anybody, you never know what people are struggling with, so you can pick from anybody. Invite quickly. I'm a big fan of inviting quickly. Don't beat around the bush. I feel like in the past, when I've tried to have conversations with people and drag it out, they get suspicious because they're like, okay, now you've had like the chit chat with me. What do you really want? And then when you invite them, that's when people get mad and feel used, right? Because then they're like, oh, you just wanted to talk to me, so you can invite me to something. So being straightforward, I feel like people respond to a lot better because they don't feel used, because you have nothing to hide from the get-go. You're just like, hey, let's do this. So this is a lot of what my invites look like today. Legit, I'll go to a post that I just did and look for who liked it, and I will go send them a little message. Hey, so-and-so, you can put in their name to make it more personal. Hope you're having an amazing day. I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for the love and support on my post. I always appreciate it because that's true. I do. No worries either way, but would you mind if I sent you info on my virtual Fit Girl Squad? And that's for someone who's liked any post I've done that's talking about the Fit Girl Squad, or any post that I've done talking about my transformation or fitness or anything like that. Sometimes that's any post that might remotely be related. It doesn't even have to be blatant, okay? But if they're commenting or engaging or liking on my stuff, they're interested in me and what I'm doing, and so I have no problem just sending a quick invite. Also note, you can always use the same verbiage that your coach did. If you have a coach who signed you up, you have an upline, literally go use the exact same thing that they did with you. It worked with you. Why can't you use that for somebody else? Don't reinvent the wheel. Go use what they've already made. Never invite them to a sale with this invite. So I invite quickly, but I'm not inviting them to a sale. I'm not sending them a link. I'm not being like, hey, sign up. I'm saying, would you mind if I sent you info? That's way different than saying, hey, you should do this thing and you should sign up. Are you ready to sign up? Okay. It's just, hey, would you check out info? Info is harmless. So people feel a lot less threatened by that. Invite to the next step. That is always your job. Or as my husband likes to say, you are setting the next appointment. It is always your job as the coach to take people to the next step. It is always your job to set the next appointment. It's never their job. So you are the one that's directing the conversation. So if you don't ask direct conversations or direct questions and take them to the next step, they're not going to. They don't know. They don't know how this process works. So you have to take control of the conversation and direct it by asking questions. Here's some of my favorite phrases to use. If I, would you. This one is gold because psychologically people feel inclined to give back when you're giving them something. So if I give to you, will you give to me? This can be used for anything. If I send you info, would you check it out? If I invited you to the sneak peek, would you check it out? If I, would you. Can pretty much work anywhere. I also love to say no worries either way, but you're giving them an out. You're telling them, hey, it doesn't matter to me either way, but would you check out this info? And when you give them an out, again, people feel less threatened and they feel like they actually have a choice and that you're not just trying to corner them into something. So I love using that phrase. Also, for my new coaches, I tell them when they approach people to just say, I'm really excited to be doing this new thing. I really think I can stick with it and I can't wait for some results, but I totally want a buddy to do it with. And I thought of you. Would you do it with me? So you don't have the experience yet. You don't have the expertise to be like, let me coach you. So in the beginning, I didn't go out there and be like, I'm running this group and I'm doing this, so you should come do it with me. It was, I just joined this group and I'm really excited to get in shape. And I see that you're wanting to get in shape too. So would you want to do it with me? Definitely position yourself as a buddy, not a coach when you're a brand new coach. So they say yes to checking out info. Now what? Give them a little bit of information and then ask a question. This is not an invitation for you to monologue. This is not an invitation for you to word vomit. And this is the biggest mistake I see new coaches make. They get a yes, I'll check out info. They get so excited that they got a yes from someone that they're like, oh my gosh, it's this morning Meltdown 100 and it's only 20 to 30 minutes long and it's 100 brand new workouts and you get everything online and there's a meal plan and then there's a shake and then and they shut down after like the first sentence because they don't know what you're talking about. And at this point, they have no reason to care. They're not invested. They don't even know why they would want to do this yet. So they don't care. So I tell them when they say yes to info, sweet, I would love to tell you all about it. I let them hear my excitement. How familiar are you with Beachbody programs and Shakeology? That is always, always, always my first question. How familiar are you with Beachbody programs and Shakeology? Because you want to know. You want to know if they've had previous experience. Did they try Shakeology? Did they hate it? Did they do the workouts before? Do they have some DVDs in their basement that are dusty? So ask that question, how familiar are you? And then let them answer. Because you're inviting them to a conversation. Keep it a conversation by always ending with a question that, again, takes them to the next step. Because you are the one directing the conversation. So I didn't show this response here, but this girl responded with, I'm not familiar, but I really need to do something. However, I'm tight on time and my budget is really slim. So I can't really spend a lot of money on anything. I responded to her with, I get that, AKA send them validation. Tell them you heard them. People want to know they have been heard, that you actually care about their response. So repeat back to them what they said to you can be very helpful. So, okay, girl, I hear you. You're short on time. You're short on a budget. I totally understand that. Do you want me to tell you about the client side or the business side? Because this would totally give you a way to not live paycheck to paycheck. Boom, another invite. Anytime somebody responds to me with an objection to price or tells me ahead of time that they have a tight budget, I invite them to the business because I started in the business and I had a tight budget. And I knew that I needed this to make me some income, not just get me results. So why not? Why not throw that out there? So always invite to the business if that's an objection. And clearly she responded, she just wanted to hear the client side. She was building a different business of her own. When they say yes to info, when they say they're not familiar, you're going to use resources that Beachbody has already made to explain how BOD works, to explain Shakeology, all of that. So what I usually respond with is a quick little, I got you. Like, don't worry, you don't have to know anything about it. I got you. And then I give them a quick little, I started using these programs 3.5 years ago, and they completely changed my body and my life. This is how it works with Beachbody On Demand. You're paying to get access to an app. Here, check it out. And I, of course, say more than that. And I can drop all my verbiage below with you guys if you want that. But I say, like, you get over 700 workouts. There's celebrity trainers, customized nutrition plans, whatever. And then I send the video of Beachbody On Demand. And note to self, use the videos that are on Vimeo. Do not use the videos that are on YouTube. Because oftentimes, if they go to YouTube, they start seeing a whole bunch of other videos that are all trashy that we don't want them to see. So go to Vimeo and use those. And then I'll say something about Shakeology. I don't typically send both videos because that tends to be a lot. So I'll say something about Shakeology like, I've never felt so good, and this is what it's done for me, and blah, blah, blah. I can, again, share this script with you, but just a little short clip about Shakeology. I send them the video of BOD, and then I end by asking them a question, which I didn't put right here. So I asked them a question of like, hey, how much time do you think you could work out and how many days per week, right? And once they answer that, I know which program they're probably going to resonate with. And when I know that, then I send them a little preview of the program. After the preview of the program, I give them options. I give them 2 or 3 options to choose from. Because if you just send everybody to your website or you just send them a whole bunch of challenge packs, they don't know what you're talking about. They don't understand it. Looking at it, they get super overwhelmed. They're talking to you, trusting that you know what they need as a coach. Even if you're brand new, they're still thinking that. And that's okay, because you do know, you just got started and you know how to start somebody else the same way. So I give them a couple of challenge packs to choose from. Pick 2 or 3. I generally pick one that's like Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand All Access, the 160. That's a classic one. And then I'll pick one that might be more themed based on the workout program that's out right now. So like I've been doing the Morning Meltdown one, and that one I'll send like a medium-sized package that has Shakeology and the Performance line. Or maybe the Jericho pack that has the Performance line and Shakeology and the greens. So it's a little bit more medium priced. And then I also love to send the Shakeology and Portion Fix and Beachbody On Demand option, because who doesn't need like a nutrition plan? And that's just a nice variety to let them choose from. And my graphics say like what they're getting. And I tried to break it down and make it super simple because, again, they get overwhelmed. Then you end it by asking a final question. So I send them the graphics, and then I send them this at the bottom. It's a one-time purchase, not a monthly fee, because people tend to think that. And there are no fees going forward unless you decide to continue with Shakeology or the performance products after your first 30 days, but no obligation. You still have access to me, the workouts, nutrition plans, and the groups for an entire year after your initial purchase, which sounds best to you. And again, if that's not true for you and the groups that you're going to be in, you can change that. For me, that's how I work it with my groups. That's how I work it with my clients. They can purchase a challenge pack and they're good to go for a year. They don't have to rebuy anything. But if that's different for you, you can totally change that. And then I end with which sounds best to you. And this is where people will either respond right away, or they forget, or they might ghost you, or you don't hear anything. So don't forget to follow up. I follow up within 1 to 2 days. And typically that looks like, hey, I just wanted to check in. I know you were checking out those packages. What questions do you have for me? I, again, always ask a question because people are better at responding if you've asked them a question because they feel like, oh, she asked me something. It's rude if I don't respond. So I follow up. Hey, just wanted to check in. I know you were looking at those packages. What questions do you have for me? Or what can I clear up for you? Now, let's say you're brand new. You're like, I don't have a post up that I can invite from. I don't do stories, anything like that. Because when I started, I didn't have a post up. Stories weren't even really a thing yet. So I didn't have anything to invite from. How you can invite right now without that. This is what I tell my brand new coaches when they are first signing up. Take screenshots of your coach, or if you don't have an upline, you can use mine. You can use any off of Beachbody. They have a ton on there to send with an invite to 25 people in your phone, or again, that list that you made from Facebook, because pictures speak 1,000 words and pictures show people how they want to feel, right? So always send a picture. Like I said, you're free to use mine. Use this to send with the screenshot. So this is what I have my new coaches send them. Hey, this is the coach that I'm joining in this online bootcamp. I'm actually really excited about it because I can do everything from home and I think it's a program I can totally stick to. But I really want someone to do it with as an accountability buddy. Would you do it with me? Okay. Again, you can change that at the end to say, if I sent you info, would you check it out? That might be even a better way to phrase it than, would you do it with me? Because you're just inviting them to check out info. But again, it's you just being excited about what you're doing and your journey, and you're inviting people to do it with you, just like you would invite them to go take a class at the gym, to go get their nails done with you, to go try out this new restaurant you love. Legit, when we invite someone to go try out a restaurant with us, we're like, oh my gosh, there's this amazing restaurant, you totally have to come. And they're like, oh, I don't like sushi. We're not like, oh my gosh, they totally told me no, and they must like hate me and not like me. No, we're like, okay, that's fine. I'm still going. And like, we still go enjoy the sushi and we don't care because we know they just don't like sushi. Who cares? So when you focus on, you're excited, this is about your journey. You're doing this with or without them. So that's why you're excited. But hey, why not do it with me? But you don't need them to do it with you for you to stay excited. That's when this business is fun. So detach yourself from their answer, because ultimately this is about your journey. Ultimately, this is about you jumping into something that's going to help you grow, that's going to give you results. So if you remember that and you're like, I don't need anybody else to join me for me to do this and I'm really excited, people can feel that and they don't feel like you're desperate and they don't feel like you're trying to spam them. So just remember, you don't need them to say yes for you to have fun with this. You don't need them to say yes for you to be validated in what you're doing. Okay? When they say yes, or what is it, or info, or anything like that, you always respond with, sweet, I would love to tell you all about it, or whatever you want to say there. How familiar are you with Beachbody programs and Shakeology? Okay? It always, always, always goes back to that question. Even when I invite somebody to the business and they're like, yeah, I would totally love to learn about it, I say, I'd love to tell you about it, all about it. How familiar are you with Beachbody programs and Shakeology? That is always my first question to people because I want to know what their previous experience is. So, note to self. If they respond with familiar, this is again what I was talking about earlier, ask about their experience. So if they respond with, I am familiar, you can say, tell me about it. Did you do the workouts? Did you try Shakeology? Did you have results? Did you work with a coach? Like, you don't know what their experience is, so ask about it. If they respond with not familiar, that's when I say that, girl, I got you. So I started using their programs 3 years ago with Shakeology and their performance line. It changed my life and my body. I've never felt this good or looked this good in just 30 minutes a day. If you don't have that yet, which you don't if you're brand new, use your uplines or say, sweet, I'm really excited to start using this or that because I've heard XYZ. And clearly it's working for these people because you just sent them a picture. And then you can go right into this next part. The way it works with Beachbody On Demand is you purchase access to the app and you can access all their programs plus nutrition plans and a cooking show. And I can share this verbiage with you guys again. So I just give them that little brief story, and you can keep yours brief too, and tell them, I'm starting to use their stuff. I'm really excited. I think this is what this is what I've heard about it, and clearly it's working. So, and then go right into telling them a little bit about Beachbody On Demand, a little bit about Shakeology, and then you ask your 3 questions. How much time per day do you think you could commit to working out? And how many days per week? Again, you're not just word vomiting here. You're not just like telling them everything. And you're not also just saying, awesome, sign up. You're saying, hey, how much time per day do you think you could commit to working out? How many days a week? I care about you. I care about your schedule. I care about setting you up for success. So realistically, what do you think you could commit to? It's always a conversation, and you want them talking just as much or more than you. So have that conversation and literally listen to what they tell you. Be responsive to that. When people respond, send them a quick preview of the program that sounds best for their needs. Your coach can help with this suggestion. I've in the past sent a lot of previews for 21 Day Fix. Right now I'm sending Morning Meltdown because I love the program. I think it works for most people. It's 20 to 30 minutes a day. It doesn't need a ton of weights. It has modifiers. It's pretty much, I think anybody could start with it. But I'm sending them a preview so they can see a little bit of what I'm offering them. Tell them to check out the preview so they can get an idea, and to let you know once they've watched it, what was their favorite part. Again, just telling people like, hey, watch this video, let me know when you're done, doesn't really get much of a response because people are like, eh. But if you're like, hey, watch this preview video, I want you to get an idea, and when you're done, tell me what surprised you the most. Or tell me what your favorite part was. That's more likely to generate a response because you're asking a more interesting question. We always want to be better at asking questions, and we want to be growing and asking better questions. Once they respond, send their options and ask which package sounds best. So once they respond with what they thought about the video, pay attention to that because that might affect which packages you're sending them. And I've had people tell me back, ooh, that one does not look good for me. That looks like too much cardio, or that looks like too much weights, or whatever. Remember to validate them when they talk to you and tell you something, validate them in your response. So always tell them, repeat back what they just said to you because people want to be heard, remember? Or you can say, I hear you. I hear you. Girl, I hear you. Don't say I feel you because a lot of people are in a different stage or season of life. And if you say I feel you and you're not in a similar stage of life as them, they're like, no, you don't. Like, what? You're a mom and I'm a single person in college. So don't say I feel you. Say I hear you. Or repeat back to them and say, so what I think you're telling me is you're tight on time, you're tight on a budget, like whatever that was, but repeat it back to them because they want to be heard. So send their options, ask which package sounds best to you. That little blurb that I showed you earlier, it's a one-time purchase, blah, 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 which package sounds best to you. Remember, less is more, always. Don't answer questions that haven't been asked. Don't word vomit. Don't make it a monologue. This is not an invitation for you to give a sales pitch. If they say yes to info, it is not like, here we go, sales pitch time. This is a conversation. Give a little bit of info and ask a question. Give a little bit of info and ask about them. Give a little bit of info and ask about them. You are interested in them. And the more you can ask about them and learn about them, the more you know how to talk to them and what to talk to them about that they need. Do practice. It's going to take a lot of practice, you guys. Nobody starts this way and is like, just knows how to do this. I was a mom of a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old when I started. I had no previous experience owning a business, no previous experience doing sales. Like, I was as green as could be, and I just had to figure it out by doing it. And I promise it's more scary to you than anybody else. And the only way to get rid of that fear is to rip off the Band-Aid and just do it. So practice. You will get better as you keep doing it. You can totally do it the same way your upline did. Look back through your messages. Look back through your inbox. Look back through however they communicated with you and take the exact same thing and do the exact same thing with somebody else. It just worked with you. It can work with somebody else. Keep going. The more people you invite and engage in conversations, the closer you are to a sale. And that's just a fact. I knew that with every invite, I was closer to somebody saying yes. And with somebody saying no, I was closer to someone saying yes. Expect no's. People are going to say no, just like we talked about earlier with the sushi restaurant. Is that personal? No, they just don't like sushi, right? Expect no's, expect not right now's, expect I don't think it's for me. Expect all of that because we all get it. And with every person you come to that gives you that response, you are one more person closer to a yes. I promise. That's just how it works. So when you get a no, it should be awesome. I'm one more person closer to a yes. Okay? So keep going. Keep inviting people. The more people you invite, the closer you are to a yes. So just go. And don't forget to follow up. You've got to follow up because people get busy. They think they responded and they didn't. They forget. Like maybe they're thinking about it. They haven't made up their mind yet. And so they're like, I don't know what to say back to her. So don't forget to follow up. My first follow-up after I've invited them, my first follow-up in the next day or two is like, hey, just wanted to check in. What questions can I answer for you? Then my next follow-up would be something like, hey, I hope you're having an awesome Wednesday and making it through this week. Do you have any fun plans for the upcoming weekend? Or like, hey, we just had Labor Day. So it was like, hey, did you do anything fun for Labor Day? Did you have an awesome extra day off? Like just find a way to ask them a question about something going on in their life that's completely unrelated. And trust me when I say, if this mama of two littles with no previous experience or results can do this, you can too. It only matters what you think. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter if other people think it's a joke. It doesn't matter if other people think that it's not going to work. It doesn't matter if other people think you're not going to do it. All that matters is what you think. So come back to like, hey, it worked for me. And if it worked for me, it can work for somebody else, right? That's just true. You just paid, you just signed up. If it worked for you, it can work for somebody else. You aren't the last person on earth that's going to sign up. So if it worked for you, it can work for somebody else. Don't forget that. All that matters is what you think. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So go out there, invite, sell some challenge packs, and your confidence will go through the roof. I promise that, because when you start to do this and put yourself out there and show up for you and do what you said that you would, and then you start to have success and see people say yes, even if you've heard no, you start to realize, oh my gosh, I'm more capable than I thought I am, and I can do more than I thought I can, and I actually can do this. And the more that happens, the happier you get about it, the more excited you get about it, the more people want to join you. It's like this cycle, okay? So go do it. If you have any questions, let me know. But there's that for you guys. I hope it helps.